episode of The Salespreneur is brought to you by Salesfully.com. Power your next direct marketing campaign with quality data. The thing about being an indie insurance sales agent. Well, the key to being successful as an independent insurance sales professional, let's say life agent, has to do with activity, right? How you spend your days. How you spend every hour of your work days. What one does during those crucial business hours will, most of the time, determine whether you join the pantheon of a small group of folks who have managed to carve out a niche for themselves in this ultra-competitive business of ours, or fall by the wayside. I have seen this business chew and spit many agents out. Most of the folks I started with, back when our firm was just a lonely insurance agency, before we got into the software business, publishing, and all the other lines of business we are in now, are no longer in this business. Some just left the industry altogether. Others just weren't looking for the elusive guaranteed paycheck at larger firms as what we call captive agents. But even when you go to work for a big firm, let's say Transamerica or MassMutual, MetLife, or any of the handful of agencies in your city, and they say, look, we are going to pay you XYZ dollars to do this work, and you figure this is easy. I'll just sit here and treat this like an office job. I'll come in and move some papers around, make the occasional phone call to check in with some client who hasn't heard from us in years, and these guys will give me a check. Basically, you are doing customer service at this point. At a job that requires that you go out and sell stuff. And since these guys need you to bring in premium, at some point, they will let you go. I worked a job once. What now seems like eons past. We were selling group plans to companies. The premise was that we set up these self-managed health plans for organizations and offered free customer support for their employees. We were there to answer questions about their plans and enroll new employees. The objective was that while we had Mr. New Employee on the phone, setting up his health insurance, we would offer a side of life with just a dab of dental and no vision, thereby earning a few extra dollars for my employer. Anyway, I'll make this short. I was eventually fired because despite what my boss kept telling me, I was in the sales business. And I just wasn't selling enough life insurance to cover the cost of keeping me in my seat. I understood their position. As insurance agents, regardless of what your arrangement with your employer is, or even if you work for yourself, you must keep sales as your number one priority. I find that boiling down the stuff you do, in a day, to a science helps. The first part of your journey to plan your daily activity is to know who your target audience is, who among your already existing network fits the profile, and how you plan to consistently add to your list of prospects. Regardless of what the tone or culture at your agency is, if you work for one, your goal is to keep selling new plans based on your own internal systems. Communication is the key to all healthy, mutually beneficial relationships. I have said this in more spaces than I care to count. My partner and I wrote a whole book about this, How to Be a Successful Insurance Agent, available on Amazon and elsewhere. Ahem. Shameless plug. Moving on. Next, we need to establish the types or modes of communication you wish to use to reach folks you already know, to talk to them about how you can help them with their financial planning needs, and how you can start the conversation with folks not already in your social circle. The latter objective depends heavily on your marketing systems. That is a conversation for another day. Your offer, in other words, how you feel you can best help those who may have some stuff set up but would be open to other products and those who have no coverage. Then, we want to set up a process to bring those guys in as clients. Back in the day, my thing was getting coffee. Okay, well, let's get together on Friday. I'll even buy you a cup of coffee. That was always my line to set up in-person appointments. Those are the best since you get to showcase your greatest asset, you. I met folks at the yourself in the ways in which you can make their lives easier through insurance planning, and C. Turn interested parties into paying clients. And that's it. Establishing a set of activities and relentlessly doing them. That is the key to cracking the independent insurance sales code. Again, this episode of The Salespreneur is